Hi there, you're watching Gardens and Graveyards. My name is Charisma and today we are in our front yard and we're about to plant some gladiolas and some delphiniums, and then I have a new tool to play with, which is a grass edger. So we're gonna try to tidy up our grass edges with that. So the first gladiolas that we planted was here in the black and white garden, and we basically just did 8 bulbs in this bed and then 8 bulbs in this bed, and they are going to be with Queen of Night and white tulips. The paper whites will have been done by the time the gladiolas bloom, but then we have dark purple sweet peas here and purple kale coming up in here, you can see. And each one of these raised beds are the same. And these are the gladiolas that we have planted. I'm trying to get a good, they're dark red burgundy color. It's called Gladiolus at Night. So it should be really fun. To begin our project, Spencer ogged a bunch of holes for me. We had 50 gladiolas to plant, so we just put 50 little holes randomly all throughout this front garden around the iris beds. To kind of create that cottage layered look, we'll be planting all of our summer flowering perennials and bulbs along this area. And so this is a 3-inch auger, and we just dug down about 6 to 8 inches and spaced about 6 or so inches apart. I'm using 2 bags of gladiolas to make up 50 total, and we have a pastel mix and then a Good Golly tamale mix, which is actually a red and white mix. So I wanted to get them all mixed up together, so we have the pastels with the pinks and yellows and then the reds all mixed in a great blend. So that was my goal with mixing them. I just went in behind Spencer after he ogged the holes, and I put plant tone in all the holes and in the perennials in the surrounding area since I was right there. And then I just grabbed random handfuls of the gladiolas and popped them in each hole, covered up each hole as I went along so I could, easily see which ones had the bulbs and which ones were already done or which ones needed to be filled. It was a pretty easy job to do, and I think it's going to be just a really amazing display of color once all of these are in bloom. The gladiolas will be in bloom right around the same time as the dahlias, so they'll come up after the irises are done. So the dahlias and the gladiolas will all be in bloom together. And I have not replanted the dahlias yet. That'll be coming in a video pretty soon as I get our new dahlia order. I think that'll probably be either late April or early May. And I will share that with you when the time comes. Walk away, and then it's like, I don't know. So the next part of our afternoon project was using our new tool, a grass edger. It's a manual radius handle grass edger. Of course, we have an electric edger, but those work really nicely after you have an edge to work with. So I dug this out along this side of our walkway, and I'll have to come back later and do the other side. But it cut straight through grass, 6 inches down, smooth as butter. There was a couple areas where, the grass was a little bit more tangly or the soil was a little bit harder to work with. But overall, it was a really easy project and a really easy tool to use. And I'm really glad that we got it, and I'm really glad that we worked on this project because it just looks so clean, and I'm really excited to do the rest of all of our walkways all throughout the garden. But I will say that it's very time consuming, so while I love the end result, it's not my first priority by any means for the rest of the garden. But I do think that if we get them done and we use our electric edger to maintain them through the season, we'll probably only have to come back in here and do this hard 6-inch edge maybe like once a year in the spring before growth really takes off for the season. That's my guess. Just that tiny strip of grass coming out of this front garden bed ended up requiring me to empty my wheelbarrow twice because all of that sod gets super heavy pretty quickly. And so I kept emptying the wheelbarrow, which was fine, but it surprised me that it took up that much space in the wheelbarrow, and it got that heavy that quickly for such a small little strip. Okay, so now you can see what a nice sharp edge that tool creates. What I did is the tool goes down 6 inches, and then I created a 6-inch gap between the garden bed and the grass. I did that because there's grass already trying to creep into my bed now. So the ditch goes down about 3 or 4 inches and 6 inches wide, and that will create a really nice defined separation from the grass and the beds. Now we do have this little piece of grass right here where I expanded the bed out because we have these lilies right here. And so we'll take out this grass so that the lilies have room to grow and get big. And do a nice sharp edge on this side. And we used to have these over here. It was an idea that we had that we didn't continue with the rest of the garden. So we're gonna use those somewhere else and change this area up just a tiny bit. let's get to this log and see what happens.
Okay.
We roll it in. So we'll just see how it goes. Put it in this container with the bay shrub. So springy right
Thank
here.
you all so much for watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please like and subscribe and share if you feel inclined. Until we see you in the next one, keep celebrating life today.